eternal life in a heaven where there will be no more stillbirth, no more cancer, no more heart failure, no more little kids getting knocked into early graves.
All right, guys. So I was watching some of Cliff's old videos, like I usually do, and I came across this one here. And this one stuck out a little bit just because of the way that, you know, the audience asks a specific question that we tend to struggle with a lot. Um, but I'll let them get to it so you guys can see what I'm referring to.
Hey guys, big fan. I know I ran into. My name's Ridge. I'm here with my wife and my younger brother and some of our best friends. I know I ran into you two last night, but just want to elaborate on that a little bit about that tragedy and ask a question. Um, and Charlie, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you yet, but we lost our 18-year-old brother back in October to an accident in our front yard, and we're constantly told like, oh, you guys might have to move on. You guys might need to kind of like put it in the past. It happened. Get over it. And we do have really good days where we get to share his story and share the gospel. But with those good days, there's also some really, really bad days where anger comes out. And I mean, I might get mad at my wife. I may get mad at the family, at the kids. What's your advice and what do you have to say about how to cope with those really bad days that we have, all of us collectively being really close to him after his loss?
All right, I'm really sorry for your loss, brother. It stinks. And that's one of the reasons I'm so glad that in 1 Corinthians 15, Paul writes, death is the last enemy. I am sick and tired of hearing people say, oh, death is just part of nature, so just accept it. No, I don't accept death. That's why we fund hospitals. That's why we do medicine, because we are against death and we're for life. And that's what Jesus said. I've come that you might have life and have it to the full. Second point. All right, wife and brother, family, you've heard the man say, I'm hurting. And at times I'm okay, but at other times I get really angry. Okay, he's been honest, right? He's been honest with all of us. He's been vulnerable. So now we got to be patient with each other, right? We got to love each other through the hard times, and it's a hard time you're passing. The most difficult day of my life was when my 7-year-old niece was knocked into a early grave in a horrible car accident, and I had to go out to Madison, Wisconsin, where my brother, who's a transplant surgeon at UW-Madison, was transplanting kidneys and livers, and I had to walk with him around a field behind his home in Madison, Wisconsin. And he's pouring out his heart to me about the death of his 7-year-old daughter. And if anybody thinks they got an easy answer for that question, they're nuts. The honest answer first is, I do not know why the babysitter didn't see the stop sign, why she went right through the stop sign, and a pickup truck at 55 miles an hour came careening down the road, smashing into the car, sending my 7-year-old niece into an early grave.
You can definitely see he's getting emotional on this one. And again, there's really no way to answer this. So anybody that says they could answer without ease is it's not being genuine.
I don't know why God allowed that to happen. And so therefore we got to be patient with each other. We got to love each other. We got to be committed to each other as we go through these painful, difficult times. The third point is, what's comfort? Comfort is presence. So you being together as a family with your presence is crucial. And even more important is God's presence with you, the presence of Jesus Christ. And that's where all of this talk and all of these answers to all these difficult questions gets real practical. It's not an issue of a good answer to a difficult question now. It's an issue of presence. I need you to be with me. Because I'm hurting, my loved one died, and it stinks. And now all of a sudden faith becomes real personal. Because now it's an issue of, do I know the presence of God? And brother, I'm 70 years old, so you're a lot younger than me, and I'm still working on that. I want to know the presence of God. Because it's hard. And I was really ticked when Time magazine came out with Mother Teresa on the cover saying, oh, the woman struggled with doubt. See, she didn't really have real faith. Oh, baloney. Give me a break. There is such a thing as depression. There is such a thing as loneliness, as the snot gets kicked out of you by life. So now we got to know Christ. And I find great comfort that in Philippians 3:10, Paul writes, I want to know Christ and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of sharing in his suffering. Remember, you worship a suffering God who got the snot kicked out of him and he was nailed to a wooden cross.
Yes.
So you can connect with this God. This God can connect with you. He's a suffering God. And then ultimately, brother, we have the solution to suffering. We're going to go through good times. We're going to go through hard times in this life, and you're going through them now, both of them. And yet we have the ultimate solution for suffering and death. And that solution is eternal life in a heaven where there will be no more stillbirth, no more cancer, no more heart failure, no more little kids getting knocked into early graves by ridiculous car accidents, but eternal life in the presence of God. So come on, my atheist agnostic friend, let's go into the hospital. Come on, my atheist agnostic friend, let's go into the room where the baby lies whose body's being shredded by terminal cancer. What are you going to do? You're going to wave your fist in God's face and blame God? That's a cop-out. That's misplaced blame. I, as a follower of Christ, will walk to the other side of that bed, and I too will hold that child's hand and seek to comfort that child. But in Jesus Christ, I've got a suffering God who gives a rip about death, about grieving people, who wants to comfort us and wrap his arms around us. That, my friend, is the solution to the very real problem of suffering and death. Jesus Christ.
There's really no easy way of dealing or coping with that. I mean, as you can see, Cliff, 70 years old, he's been in the ministry for who knows how long. If anybody has faith, it's gonna be him. And if he finds it hard to cope with, then you can just imagine what someone that doesn't probably even have half of the faith that Cliff does to deal with that, especially when it happens to their children. I have children, and I can't even imagine what it is, nor do I want to, what it would be like to lose a child. And through it all, you have to find the courage not to blame, God, not to blame the Almighty. Because again, it's not his fault. And we have to really, really know and comprehend that it's not his fault. It is a consequence of different things. It's a consequences of different actions from different people. I'm gonna always say that. And yes, the consequences of those actions may not be in our favor. It may not be in our favor a lot. But at the end of the day, we have to understand that unfortunately and fortunately, God gave us free will. And for everything that we do, there's always a consequence. Is it easy? No. Is it heartbreaking? Yeah, it is. Is it tough? Yeah, you bet. How do you deal with that? I don't have an answer. And I'm pretty sure the majority of us don't. But yeah, I don't have an answer. But this is just, it's just you have to trust God and know that he is with you and he's hurting with you while this is happening. He's not just up there saying, hey, listen, this is what you deserve. No, he knows the pain that you're going through because he's going through it. Whenever you feel something, he feels it. Whether it's joy or sadness, he feels everything that you're feeling. So if he's hurting, yeah, he's hurting because you're hurting. Regardless, it's not easy to deal with for sure. Yeah, that was and you could tell that the emotion that Cliff was going through on that one, and it really hit him hard. But just thought I'd share with that clip with you guys to know that at the end of the day, I'm gonna keep saying this. It's all consequences of different things. It's all consequences of people's other people's action. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments.